Well, Victor Ashe is the former United States ambassador to Poland. I asked him what he made of this European defense meeting.
Well, I think it's critical, very important, and hopefully the European nations there can unify and overwhelmingly, if not unanimously, reach a decision. President Trump has made his decisions. I personally disagree and regret them, and you have to wonder what's coming down the road. Is NATO next?
What's the answer to your question? Is NATO next?
Well, I don't know. I'm not privy to President Trump's thoughts, but he certainly made critical comments. Now, I would say he's on track in terms of NATO countries putting more money up for the defense and for the NATO budget. Poland, for example, has been a country that has done quite a bit. The UK, under the leadership of Prime Minister Starmer, is moving ahead, and Germany may be too. But it's important that everyone pitch in and do what they should, whether the U.S. is involved or not.
Do you think European countries are up to the job to quickly get this done?
They're up to it and can do it if they have the will to do it. I cannot answer that. I mean, individual leaders, President Macron of France and others, has been, and the British Prime Minister certainly, and King Charles, to the degree the king can be involved in political events, are clearly on board. But are the other countries? And I don't know the answer to that yet.
You're a seasoned observer of international events. This meeting in Brussels is being described as a critical turning point in Europe's defence. Do you see it like this? Is this one of those huge change moments?
I think it's a very pivotal meeting. It may not be the pivotal meeting, but it may very well go down in history, just as Churchill's speech in 1947 went down in Westminster, Missouri, about the Iron Curtain. It may be a meeting that is remembered, 60 years later.
President Trump keeps on changing his mind 24 hours after making a decision about, for instance, car tariffs today. He's flip-flopped on the decision he made yesterday. It is just possible, is it not, that he's going to change his mind on this, isn't it?
Certainly. It's an open book. He flips the pages frequently, and there's no real consistency. And he said, the number one goal he would be to reduce inflation and reduce prices. And he's taken steps that does the exact opposite. With Mexico and Canada, needless fights with countries that have been traditionally our longtime friends. And then he backs off every 30 days, literally on the eve of the day they are to be implemented.
You know from your time working in Europe that Germany is the engine of Europe. Germany has now agreed to loosen its borrowing limits to boost its defence spending. Could this signal a broader shift perhaps in Europe's willingness to heavily invest in its military capabilities?
Oh, definitely. I mean, if Germany is isolated and not contributing, and it's one of the most significant countries in Europe, obviously that's a step back. But this is a step forward under the new leadership in Germany, and perhaps in a bipartisan way with what will be the ruling coalition in the German parliament. And I think that sends a signal. And the major countries in Europe will seem to be on board. And then the smaller countries, which are still very important, hopefully will join up.
You spent a lot of your life in Europe. You're clearly back home in the States. How would you describe the current state of European-US relations? This was once your job. You were the face of America in Poland. How do you see it now?
Well, I think it's at risk, and I hope Europeans realize that a great deal of the American public are very supportive of close ties between the United States and Europe. And, of course, so many Americans are immigrants from Europe, one country or another, some going back 200 years. But that's who we are. And I think the current Trump administration hopefully it is one that'll get its feet on the ground and be more realistic. But if it doesn't, in 3 years and 10 months, they'll be gone.